Welcome to the Small Business Show. My name is Swire. Today we have Mallory Vu, hairstylist, nail tech at Curlicue Salon. How are you doing, Mallory?
I'm doing good, Swire.
I'd love to have you on the show. I think we're both BNI members, and we've been noticing a trend because we're moving to BNI. We meet virtually right now. Can you tell us, what we have talked about and how you wanted to address everything in the video today?
Yeah, well, we were doing some brainstorming, and we kind of thought it would be good. We did kind of notice when people are on their Zoom meeting, sometimes people can be a little relaxed or feel really comfortable because they are at home, but sometimes that can be a little distracting to the meeting. So we think that maybe some extra tips and tricks for you guys might help improve your guys' presentations. That way the meeting goes nice and smooth, and everybody looks amazing, and everybody can really deliver that really good message that that we're there to to deliver. So yeah.
Nice, and I know that you have some slides for us. Would you mind
I
to
do.
fire those up?
I do. Yep, I sure do. Let me do the little screen share here. Oops.
And I like that you're wearing your badge.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yes. I wanted to be a good example today. All right, screen share. There we go. Okay. All right.
Okay, I can see it. Yes.
Okay, good, good. All right, so I have about 10 tips for you guys today. Hopefully we can get through them all. If not, I can share the slides later if anybody needs them. This is just a real quick recap of what we're going to go over today. We're going to do our hair before our meetings. We're going to dress business casual. We're going to do a professional background. We're also going to have a good camera angle. We're going to do a quick like audio visual check before. We're going to practice. We're going to stick to the meeting plan. We're never going to say, "Can you hear me?" We're going to unmute during the speaking portions, and we ask that you guys stay put and stop multitasking. And I'll go into each one of those little things as we go on. So for the do your hair portion, I spend about maybe 15 minutes getting ready before each meeting. Usually I like to do my hair, I like to pick out my clothes, and I like to do my makeup before. That way I give a really good presentation, and I look like as if I would if I am in a real BNI meeting, or if I'm meeting with a client, or if I'm at work also. The camera can make facial features appear pretty small and washed out, so I think it's really important that we do use good lighting. And if you would normally wear makeup, go ahead and put some makeup on, because that's really going to help your presentation. Like I said, we do take an extra 10 to 15 minutes to get ready, before each presentation, just to make sure I can really help deliver my message and look good while I do that. For BNI mornings, usually I like to get things ready the night before. That way I'm not spending too much time in the morning. In the mornings, I tend to be pretty tired and groggy. I bet a lot of us are. So I like to get that stuff ready beforehand. My suggestions for men: stick to a really simple hair care regimen. If you would normally style your hair for the office or for a meeting, go ahead and style it real quick for our BNI meeting.
Yeah, if anyone needs advice and do my hair, it takes no time.
No, right, and if you're bald, it shouldn't take you any time.
Yeah.
And then with facial hair, don't worry about facial hair right now. I think a lot of men are growing beards right now, and a lot of people are going to be stuck at home in quarantine, so don't worry too much about shaving or spending a lot of time trying to perfect that mustache. Just go ahead and do what you would normally do, and get on with your meeting.
Quick question for you. For you as a stylist, are you spending more time or less time, doing all your makeup, or it's pretty much the same every day?
It's pretty much the same. I try hard not to spend too much time. If I've spent more than 30 minutes getting ready, I've probably spent too much time. Being a hairstylist, I am pretty quick at doing my own hair. I like to section my hair off when I'm curling it or when I'm doing a style, kind of like what I have on today. And that helps that go pretty quick. Same thing with makeup. I have real simple regimen that I try to stick to. So I try not to spend too much time, and I keep it simple.
Okay, great.
Yeah. So next up, we ask that you guys dress business casual or business professional. So dress appropriately for the meetings as you would an in-person meeting, like you would for your normal BNI meetings. This includes your BNI name badge and your BNI lapel pin if you normally wear that. So even a real simple blazer thrown over a t-shirt can create a whole new professional look with minimal effort. So sticking to neutral colors is always a good idea. A nice tailored shirt, tie is not necessary, but a nice tailored shirt would look good. Same thing with the polo shirt, a fitted blouse, a simple sweater. Anything like that's going to really help your business casual look, I think, and make you look really good during your presentation also. Next up, with one thing that I think is really, really important, and I think a lot of people kind of miss this, it's really important to have a nice professional background. I have an example here in this presentation of a really good, yeah, a really optimal presentation of me in front of my camera. You can only see the upper half of my body. You can clearly see my name badge. I'm wearing neutral colors. You know, nothing's very distracting. And then below that, I have a very bad example of you know, doing a Zoom meeting and maybe not being very prepared. You know, I've got the yoga pants on, I'm eating, I've got my phone out, my hair's not done, and I have that the blinds open in the background, which can be very distracting.
And I think with Zoom, you know, if all of us, you probably have it downloaded already. When you have time, you actually test the perfect spot, you know, that you want to do.
Yes.
So while we're not at meeting, we can actually test out all the kinks, you know, any background, any lighting that you want to do. You can actually try just by yourself, you know, and to test to make sure that everything works, and then, you know, find the perfect angle for your business.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, definitely spend a few minutes before the meeting to kind of get your little spot ready. I definitely sampled out maybe 3 different spots where I live to try to find the best spot where the lighting was good. I had good front lighting. It wasn't distracting in the background. So I think that's a really good idea. Let's see what else. Oh, also maybe investing a few bucks in a selfie light if you don't have good lighting at home. A selfie light can really help improve your presentation. If you don't feel like spending money, or a really easy hack that I saw is just using the front light on your laptop or your computer screen. If you go ahead and increase that lighting all the way up, that can actually help illuminate you as well during your presentation. And that
like a table lamp, just put it right in your face.
Right.
Then you'll help with the lighting too.
Yeah, very simple table lamp, or even just sitting facing good lighting can help. Yeah. So next up, I have the camera angle. One thing that I think is really important when you're doing a presentation, that you're just showing the upper half of your body. It's just a lot more professional that way. Also having it in landscape mode versus portrait mode. You want if you're on the iPad or on the camera, you want that to be in landscape mode, so the pictures all look consistent, you know, when you're looking at the grid view, and everybody kind of looks, you know, nice and the same. Also too, you know, it's very important. I think you still just want to show the upper half of your body. I don't think it's very professional when we can see people sitting in the chair and we can see their whole body. It's probably just better to keep the camera at eye angle or at eye view, and then go ahead and just show that upper half.
Yeah, I see people that are slouching. They might be, you know, you wonder where they are during the meeting.
Yeah.
So yeah, you don't want to have that, especially in a professional meeting.
I agree. All right, next, like what we just touched on real briefly, do a pre-meeting connection camera audio check. About 5 to 10 minutes before I do any type of Zoom meeting, or virtual meeting for that matter, I'll do a practice meeting. The software for Zoom has a little testing function where you can go and see what your camera is going to look like during your presentation, and I use that a lot just to make sure everything looks good. I go ahead and check my connection to make sure my signal's nice and strong, that I won't be having any Wi-Fi issues during my meeting, and I make sure my lighting looks good also. At this time, I'd like to go ahead and do a real quick rehearsal of what my presentation is going to be, to make sure it sounds good and that I'm going to sound good during the meeting. Another thing I like to do is I give everyone at home a heads up and let them know that I'm going into a Zoom meeting. That way they don't forget and accidentally try to interrupt me during my meeting. That's just the polite thing to do, because lots of times people will forget, you know, we're at home and we're comfortable, and they'll just start talking at you and forget that you're in the middle of a meeting.
Yeah,
Which
that's very important.
Yeah, and that's going to happen, you know, and sometimes you might get Zoom bombed by the animals. So
yeah,
be prepared for that too.
some people like that. You know, some people are showing the kids, the baby, the dogs and cats and things like that.
Yeah, some people do like that. Another suggestion I have, definitely familiarize yourself with whatever software you're going to be using. Take a moment to, you know, memorize where the mute and unmute button's going to be, where to turn your video off and on if you need to. But really familiarize yourself with the new technology, and just be patient. We understand a lot of people are doing this for the very first time, and this is new technology. So just be real forgiving with yourself and just kind of have fun with it. Next up, get any coffee or drink ready that you're going to need during your presentation, because you don't want to be getting up during the meeting.
Yeah, I think one of the good things to do is, we're supposed to do one-on-ones. And I think if you're not familiar with the technology, do a one-on-one with another member. Then, you guys can help each other, help on the background with the technology. And, you could also mouse over your name to change the name. Like Mallory and I, we both changed to the name of a company, or I have the photo guy on. So there are ways that you can actually change the more familiar you are with the program. So that will actually help your business too.
Yes, yeah, it will, definitely. All right, next up, I have to kind of segue into this next part. It's really important to practice your presentation. For BNI, we have limited time slot that we're given to do our weekly presentations. So definitely rehearse those beforehand to make sure you get all those little important pointers out that you wanted to deliver during your meeting. But also make sure that during your presentation, because the Zoom formats are a little different, you're also going to be including any referrals and testimonials that you guys might have. So make sure to include everything that you're going to say during the meeting within your little weekly presentation format. So just be prepared for that. Next, I think this is really important. Never say, "Can you hear me?" during the meeting. Just assume that you can be heard, and just talk. Just go ahead and just be real. Try to be natural about it. I know it's a little weird for some people. Everyone gets a little nervous at first, and that's to be expected. But just assume that we can hear you. If we can't hear you during the meeting, the host will most likely ask you to repeat yourself, or you can post the message into the chat, or she'll ask you to post the message in the chat. It's an alternative to getting your message out if for whatever reason you're having a connection issue, or I don't know, the gardener's in the background with the blower or something. That we're going to run into those type of issues, but that's, not a big deal.
So I think that the testing is important, because before you
Yes.
hop on, you can test your video, you can test your audio. I think Zoom is pretty good. If once you test it and then it works, and the entire meeting, you could probably be working too. So I think another thing, people might not just hop onto the meeting without testing. That's where you hear, people have no video, or they have no audio, and like, "Can you hear me?" And
Right.
it's like the thing, like we say more than we say hi to each other.
Right. Can you hear me? Yeah. Same thing too, if you have two Zoom users in the same room, make sure that if one person's talking, that the other person's muted, because it does create that weird reverb sound. So just be mindful of that too. So next up, like I said earlier, make sure you familiarize yourself with where the mute button or the mute key is. I have a little thing here. It kind of shows you where all the buttons are for the Zoom meeting. This is if you're on the computer. I know on the iPad and the phone it's going to be a little different, but definitely familiarize yourself with the software. That's really going to help the Zoom meeting go a lot more smoothly, I think.
And I think, some of the BNI meeting that I've been to, the president actually will announce, "Mallory, you're speaking now.
Yes,
the
that's
next
very
up
helpful.
will be Swire." So I know if I'm after Mallory, I'll actually find where the unmute button is, and I'll mouse over it. So as soon as Mallory is done, then I'll hit unmute, say my presentation, and then I'll go back and mute myself again. So be ready, and then probably we are on the third week of our meeting now, so you probably know who is in front of you. So I think that will make the meeting go smoother, and then you don't never say, "Can you hear me?" again.
Yeah, I think so too. That does help. That's a really good suggestion. All right. Next, my last suggestion that I have, I think this is really important, and I know it's very hard for a lot of people, but stay put during your meeting. I haven't noticed this too much during our Zoom meetings, but I've noticed it in others. People get very, very comfortable. So I really recommend that you just stay put and stop multitasking during the Zoom meeting. Only get up if it's an emergency or if you have to use the restroom or something. Stop folding the laundry, stop doing the dishes. And also too, I don't think I touched on this in another slide, but I think it's important to, when you start your meeting, be in the location where you're gonna be during the meeting. Try not to be walking around too much to get to your location. When the meeting starts, try to be sitting down in the spot where you're gonna be during the entire remainder of the meeting. I think that's really helpful, because it can be a little distracting when we see people walking around and stuff. Also make sure to mute your cell phones, because we can still hear those in the background. Also, same, lots of other beepings too. We understand, like my coffee machine, I'm surprised didn't start beeping, but there's going to be other beeps and boops that you'll hear. Maybe somebody's fire alarm, you know, the battery dying or something. I hear that a lot in videos. So we'll be mindful of those, but do your best to go ahead and mute your cell phones to make sure there's no extra distractions. And if you do have to leave the meeting early or go off screen temporarily, just go ahead and post a note in the chat. You know, you don't need to like send smoke signals or anything just to let us know. Just go ahead and post a message in the chat and leave the meeting. So those are the suggestions that I have. I think if we kind of stick to those those rules, it'll help our meetings go a lot smoother.
Yeah, I think it is a different format, and I do start to see, you know, there are good and bad, obviously, for any format. I think for some of us who might wanted to push for a promotion or have people contact us, actually doing a virtual, it's helpful because you can send a link or you can send the promotion to your website in the chat room, and then everyone can see it. So they do it now, they don't forget, and then actually, you can, if you like, you can visit a lot of different chapters all around the world right now. And so that, you know, that's a plus that, and then there's no excuse not to visit other chapters.
Yeah, it's a really good time to take advantage of being able to visit all these different places that we wouldn't normally have an opportunity to kind of get in touch with. Another thing that I just thought of too, I think it's really important that we look really well during our Zoom presentations, especially while we have visitors. We're gonna have people coming in from apparently from all across the world,
Yeah.
you know, to see us, and I really think it's important that we really look our best.
So Mallory, if you know, any BNI member watching this, you know, wanted to get in touch with you, and probably, you know, I think like from your standpoint as a stylist, you could probably look at the background, give them suggestion or things that they can do. Like, what is the best way to contact you?
I do have some links here. The best way to get in touch with us right now is to follow us on social media. I've been trying to make a really big push right now to do consistent social media posts and try to let people know what's going on with Curlicue, especially right now. I think we've had a lot of questions and people just want to know what's going on with the salon because they know there's a lot of salon closures right now, you know, as we are also. So we're just trying to keep in touch. You know, you guys can follow us on Instagram at curlicue.rocks and at Mallory Vu Beauty. And then also on Facebook, we have a Facebook page, curlicue.rocks, and then also my Mallory Vu Beauty page as well. Same thing with our websites, curlicue.rocks and malloryvu.com. Those are the best ways to keep in touch with us right now.
And you've been helping clients, you know, virtually too, right? Like, how are you, you know, addressing, you know, some of the needs, you know, if they can't physically be in the salon right now?
Right. I have been doing some virtual consultations for my clients if they need it. If they're having difficulties with their hair or if they need suggestions cutting their bangs. I do suggest waiting for haircuts if you absolutely can wait for your haircut. But I've also done some color kits for clients as well who need root touch-ups. That's another thing that I'm doing to kind of help my clients out in the way my clients are helping me. I'm doing root touch-up kits for those who need it, and I can do virtual consultations to help with color matching and things like that as well.
Great, Mallory, thank you so much for the information. I think you touched on all the important points, and if we all follow Mallory's guideline, you know, we'll all look amazing at a BNI meeting.
Yes, I agree. Thank you so much, Swire. I appreciate you having me today.
All right, take care.
Mm-hmm.
Bye.